Gear up, because this is the Fuel Your Marketing podcast, designed to accelerate sales and grow your business. Let's welcome your host, Arti Sharma.
Hey, welcome back to the Fuel Your Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Arti, and today I have with me a very seasoned digital transformation and go-to-market leader, founder now, Adrienne Jung, the CEO of eeva, which is a platform that we're going to talk about today, and how she started with the concept, the journey behind it, her thought, her take, and how over the years she has worked with nonprofits and startups and thrives on bringing more order to the chaos. So without any further ado, Adrienne, welcome to this show, and thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, Arti. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure. I'm so looking forward to this conversation. I think for our listeners, we're intrigued by what the platform is all about, at least I am. And since you've been recognized as a Quebec's top young executive in a 2024 emerging entrepreneur, and you kind of, I think I've seen your journey. You are a big advocate for mental health also. So talk to me a little bit about your overall journey. How did you form the concept, and what inspired you to found eeva?
Yeah, it's all tied in. I take a very holistic approach to life, and so it's all interconnected. My career thus far has been working in nonprofits and startups. I'm always brought in to make organizations more efficient internally using tools and resources so that they can deliver more efficiently on their mission externally, making the most out of the few resources that you have, because we know that startups and nonprofits don't have a lot of resources. So using them as efficiently as possible to deliver on their mission. And so I've always worked with a lot of technology, a lot of tools, and figuring out what is the best combination, what is the best mix of tools and resources to make an organization more efficient. I love all things efficiency, all things productivity, and I think it plays an important part in our own mental health, especially at work. If I can, use technology in the way that it's intended to be used and take a load off of, me, then so much the better. And then a few years ago, I bought my first house, which was a super exciting milestone. I was really happy. It was, a long time coming, very happy. But with it came a whole bunch of information, tasks, deadlines, reminders, all of those things. I imagine you have your house already. And so, there's just so much that comes with it. And I was overwhelmed because I knew that there were tools available to me at work. I looked for something similar to help me manage all of this in my day-to-day life. And I was really struck with the disparity between what was available at work and what was available at my house. I asked other homeowners what they were using, and they were telling me filing cabinets, a whiteboard calendar in the kitchen, Post-it notes. I mean, all the things that we're all used to. But that didn't seem fair. That didn't seem fair that we had software at work that was worth hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases. And at home, I was being pointed to Post-its. And so that is what eeva aims to do. So we are bridging that gap with the tools that are available at work versus what's available at home in your personal life. We built a really powerful platform that is meant to consolidate all of the data, the information, the events, tasks, documents, everything that makes your world go round. We've added artificial intelligence, obviously, because there's real benefits there. And the idea is to really lessen the mental load.
I remember, and I still do, I'm a parent, I'm a founder,
Yeah.
I'm a CEO at my company, trying to build, grow all these years, and then raising kids. And my husband was involved in a very, in a production engineering facility.
Yeah.
He was leading a team. So he had to be traveling, or he was busy throughout. So while I was running the business, building my own, and then raising kids, I wish something like this was available to
Exactly.
many into life. You're right. We've got the Nosbys going, we've got the Evernote, we've got the to-do list, and then all the digital CRM and everything else at work. You're right. but we don't have a whole lot of sophisticated tech available to
Exactly.
kind of integrate that. And I feel like this is one life, work is part of it, but if you can, what
Exactly.
if you can integrate, especially if you're a busy professional? So very excited to talk a little bit more about that. And thank you for bringing in a very important subject on mental health, because I think the micro decisions we make every day,
Yes.
they take a tax and toll on you. If you don't
Exactly.
have a system to keep, I think, keep everything in order, sometimes it could just overwhelm you, and that overwhelm over period of time can build into a lot of anxiety. And it's
Absolutely.
important to talk about it, because we are in this remote, fast-changing, high-speed environment where we're expected to deliver on so much, as a human being, let alone a professional, right?
Exactly.
So fantastic that you have created that in bridging the gap there. I'm really wishing a lot of success, because you've already, I think, fundraised, and you've raised over $1 million.
Over 2 million now.
Oh, $2
Yes.
million now.
2
Wow.
million. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank
Congratulations.
you. Yeah.
I want to kind of understand, you said it's a purpose-driven platform. Looks like that, it aligns very well with your mission. You've, pointed that out. As a leader, were there any pressing leadership challenges that you also saw while you were also thinking of the concept?
So what's interesting when you talk about the mental load, that is the main, it's the main problem that we're solving. It's the mission behind what we're doing. But we know from experience, and more studies are coming out to support this, that this is a problem. This is something felt in large part by women. The micro decisions that you're talking about, all those little things that have to be decided on or managed when it comes to the household or family life. Women are typically the one that take this on. Just there's a whole rationale behind it about historically households have been a woman's responsibility, and so I think that's translated into this. Whereas work would have been traditionally owned by men, which is why we see so many tools and resources available in that act. And so we're solving something that is at its core, something that is felt most by women. And that has come with its fair share of challenges. The fundraising game is a boys' club. The tech world is a boys' club. And so understanding, conveying the problem that we're solving, convincing people that there is a market for this, that there is a need, because overwhelmingly, you talk to anybody, and mostly women, they understand the pain point. They get it right away. Almost everyone says, yes, I need this. I need this to help me in my day-to-day life. But we have spoken to a lot of men, unfortunately, who have said outright, I don't need this because my wife takes care of it. And so getting past that bias, getting past that preconception and that kind of almost misogyny to a certain extent has been one of the greater challenges we've experienced.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm actually surrounded by very strong men who are very well involved in family, my husband being one.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, and I see a lot of my colleagues at work, like my team members, go out to a lot of CSMs who want flexibility because they have to pick and drop their daughter or take them to
Of
any
course.
classes or doctor appointments, so I see both, but I hear you. There's that bias that existed, and as a society, we have to come together, work towards it to create more harmony and balance for women, and
Yeah.
also give them the chance to grow in professional fields. And I think as a fellow Canadian women founder, I'm here to cheer you on, and
Thank you.
I couldn't be more inspired to see you grow, rise, and shine, and kind of, taking this mission to real life. So let's talk a little bit more about your, SaaS market. You
Yes.
said, it's predominantly driven by men, and
Yeah.
men on boards, and there's leadership positions. For you as a women founder, what leadership traits were really important to you for staying ahead of the curve, being able to even raise the funds that you have raised?
I was very clear from the get-go around my values and what I was willing to compromise on and what I wasn't willing to compromise on. I was lucky enough that early on I brought on my co-founder. He completes me in many different ways. And he's also a man, as it turns out. And so he's been able to open doors for me that I wasn't able to open alone. And beyond that, one of the things that sets us apart is we are business people. So my co-founder and I are business people, which is almost unheard of for a tech company. And that's something that has been both an advantage and at times a disadvantage, is that we are not tech. Our background is not in tech. We don't know how to, code. Software is not kind of in our background. And so we've taken a very business approach, which has served to set us apart. And then one of the reasons for our success behind raising over $2 million, which in this market is quite a feat, something we're actually incredibly proud of.
Yeah, it looks like that you took a GTM approach, because
Yeah.
marketing is not, it's siloed, and you're not, or technology is, the product development is siloed. So I think it looks like that you kind of brought in the right skill sets to support you, but you brought the entire go-to-market function, as we call it, the GTM strategy, where the departments were not siloed, and you brought them all together to work on this mission critical. As a SaaS founder, I'm sure you've observed a lot of other SaaS companies, and you've been involved in the digital transformation back in working with startups and non-for-profits. Talk to me a little bit about that experience and now this, and what trends are you seeing that, SaaS is reshaping SaaS to approach GTM
It
overall?
really is shifting. I think, with AI becoming more and more commonplace and part of everybody's strategies, we're definitely seeing a shift in what sets companies apart, what makes them successful in their GTM strategies. And we're seeing the big thing I'm keeping an eye on right now is pricing models, right? Every company is adding AI to their offering and having to adapt their expenses and more importantly, their pricing to be able to compensate for that. It's really interesting to watch. And I think as in the next few years, we're going to see a real shift in how the average user pays for SaaS products, the model and the frequency, based solely on these AI features that we're hoping kind of deliver value for them. It's in this day and age, especially these days, you cannot go to market without AI. It's almost expected, and the pricing is something that's kind of catching up to that, I think.
Technology has evolved so much, but I think those subscription models have shifted.
Yes.
There's from freemium to premium, I think I call it.
Yeah.
It is a different ballgame altogether. And while you're keeping your cost of goods sold in check, your COGS are in check. You make sure that your technology is ever evolving. So have you taken any specific steps to keep that in check, or are you looking to outsource, use some funding? What are you doing in order for you to make sure that your product is leading edge, but you're also not passing on those costs to the end user?
So we made a conscious decision early on that we don't have a freemium model. Our product is premium, to use your words. We believe in the value that we're delivering from the get-go. We have a free trial, so you can try it out. But after that, it is an entirely paid product, and that comes from the feedback that we've received. We conducted many focus groups, case studies. We have our diehard fans that are using the platform multiple times a day, and they are consistently sharing kind of what's working, what's not working, and the numbers show that we're delivering value. And so from a strategic standpoint, we made that decision early on to charge accordingly. But we're still early enough in the process that we're still getting a feel for our COGS. We're still getting a feel for, what exactly our costs are going to average out to. We only officially launched a few weeks ago. And so we're still getting a sense of, what's the cost per user, the cost of acquisition, and all of that. So it's, we're keeping a watchful eye over it to make sure that we survive it.
I can always tell that, there's a founder who has passion, there's a great product, and there is demand in the market, right? So you say that you've checked all those three. So looking forward to your journey. At the forefront of the innovation that you are trying to bring to the marketplace, you talked about leveraging AI and other technologies to address how your consumers' pain points are taken care of. How did you decide what features need to be brought in based on the pain point? You said you did some focus groups, you did a whole lot of interviews, use cases, testing. Talk to us a little bit about the product itself and what can it do at a grassroots level. Like if you think of a life of a busy professional woman who's trying to raise children, trying to grow in her career, and has been a real estate investor, let's say, let's take an example of buying a home, right? With all of that comes your own health, your own space, your own time, your own
Yep.
appointments. How does the platform solve everything?
The big thing that we do is we consolidate everything. So the average person is using, a few applications, or again, that whiteboard in the kitchen, a bunch of paperwork that's either tacked on the fridge or in a filing cabinet or what have you. What eeva does is it consolidates all of that. So all of your documents, your calendars, your different events, the tasks that you need to do, and all the different people as well. There's an important CRM component. We bring it all in one place. So we play nice with all your calendars, the Outlooks, the Google calendars, like whatever it is. So to integrate all of that. The CRM component is by far one of the most popular features, because you can add in, you link your contact list, you tag, one of your doctors, and as long as you're kind of updating accordingly, you can see, okay, the last time I had a doctor's appointment was last year. He told me to watch my cholesterol and, to get a blood test done before my next visit. It'll send you a reminder for that. It's a platform that's really been designed for the average person's personal life. It's not corporate in any way. I've heard a lot of stories of people using corporate tools, people using Jira, people using, Asana or Monday.com or Notion to build a system that works for them. We've built something that's specifically designed for the average person's personal life, and we customize it to whatever your situation looks like. We ask you, do you have kids? Do you have pets? Do you own or do you rent? And based off of the answers that you give, it'll structure the platform, according to what your life looks like, and then ask you to pull in the relevant information. When is your mortgage due? When are your bills due? Who is your family doctor? Who's your dentist? When is grandma's birthday? And then it'll help remind you. It can do things for you. It can send that email out to grandma. Happy birthday, grandma. Yeah, the idea is to remove a lot of the micro decisions and the thinking that you have to do just to make your life move forward.
I call it harmony platform.
Yes.
It's bringing that harmony to your life, because I strongly, firmly believe that, if you're not fulfilled in life, you'll be able to give your best at work. And if you're not fulfilled at work, you won't be able to give your best in your other relationships that really matter a lot.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about, the subject going back. You said it's not for corporations, and we just touched upon this very important subject of mental health.
Yeah.
How do you see, do you have any use cases, or have you done any testing, or is it on the plan to be able to take this platform and talk to corporations to probably, how you have gym memberships, right?
Yes.
And is there a
That's a
plan?
great point. Yes. So actually, we're in conversations with quite a few corporations who are considering adding eeva as one of their HR benefits, especially with remote work, companies with remote workforces, right? You're working from home. We want to help make your home life easier. And this is one of the ways that we can do that. So it's definitely something that's of interest.
I think a mental health conversation should be a cornerstone for any leadership as they do their strategic planning. So I think companies must integrate mental health strategies into their go-to-market plans also to build more resilient and productive teams. So now let's switch gears. Okay, we've talked about the product and what it does and how the concept behind it and your story behind it. I would love for us to talk a little bit more about your go-to-market strategy with eeva. Like, what have you think the things that you've done from productization, product conceptualization to, is it a product-led growth strategy? Is it more community-based? What is your plan, and why did you choose one motion over the other?
So at the beginning, we were really focused on achieving that product market fit. So we focused a lot on the consumer. So at our core, we are a B2C company. So we went through various phases. We had closed beta where we were oversubscribed. We got over 100 people who wanted to try the platform out. They provided very valuable feedback. We had one-on-one conversations with them. We watched them, use the application. We made some tweaks based off of their feedback. We identified the personas and all of that. Then we moved to an open beta. So that had over 500 people in it. So again, using the application, the feedback was a bit less formal, but still we got a lot of engagement. They submitted forms. We got to see from a usage perspective, what were the features that they were most using that delivered the most value. So again, we kept tweaking based off of that. And now we're officially launched. The B2C side, however, we feel like we've really got that down to a point where we know we're delivering value. And so our go-to-market strategy is slowly but surely pivoting to a B2B2C, which is the conversations I mentioned earlier. We're having a lot of conversations with companies who want to offer eeva as a mental health benefit for their employees who work from home. We're also hearing from real estate companies and insurance companies who see the value that they can provide through our platforms to the average user. So our go-to-market strategy is mainly B2B2C, after we were sure that we had the B2C side really nailed down.
And it looks like that in all of this, you're looking at some major partnerships, advertising for different segments, be it HR departments, be it for organizations such as, those in real estate investments, mortgages, or some of those home services niche.
Exactly.
What advice would you have for founders who just have a product idea and they've identified that there's a gap and they don't have a co-founder maybe, who could help them raise? What would you say would be, well, besides finding a great co-founder with great connections, that's one, but what would you say as a founder? What would be your go-to funding stage, that phase? What's your advice there? And also, how do you raise capital?
I was able to start fundraising before I got my co-founder. I was lucky enough. I took the approach of baby steps, and that's really what I would recommend. So the first thing I raised was $50,000. And that is what got me a website, that got me incorporated, and that got me starting to work with a designer to start mapping out what this idea would actually look like in practice. And then what I was able to build with the $50,000, the website, and a very crude mock-up, that led me to raise $100,000. With that $100,000, I was able to build something a bit more fleshed out. And I just kept going in steps in that way, raising just enough to get to that next stage. And now we're at over $2 million. So the check size has increased the further along we went, the further along we went. As have the expectations and kind of what we're doing with that money. So that is the approach that worked for me. And I think if you're just starting off with an idea, raising right away $500,000, $1 million is not the way to go, because you want to make sure that you're doing it incrementally and that it's something that each step of the way is validated, is vetted, it kind of keeps making sense as you go. I will say it is much harder as a solo founder. And I think we know that. That's been proven time and time again. Having a co-founder with skill sets that complement yours is super important. But even just, and I'm big on this, my co-founder and I are very open about this from a mental health perspective, having someone else that's with you in the trenches, that understands the sacrifices you're making. The life of an entrepreneur can be lonely, but if you've got someone else in the trenches with you, it's a lot more fun. It's a lot less lonely. And you're a lot more productive as well. This is definitely a case where 1 + 1 = more than 2.
As you said, the life of an entrepreneur and life of a founder, especially when you have a great product and you believe in it, but you don't know there is enough daylight, or I'd say light light to guide your path for the next step. And you need a sounding board. You need somebody,
Yeah.
the days may not be all glorious. Every day won't be like that. You'd have some low times and low days and
Yes.
have that. But I also think there's workload. To go to market faster, you could do everything that you can do. Either you go get funding from VCP firms, and
Yeah.
have those come in and to your rescue, and then they control how you evolve your product. Or you could possibly you could be saying that this is your product, your idea, and you want to kind of do everything in your capacity to raise the funds. And maybe the journey will be slower than usual,
Yeah.
but it'll be yours, and you do the justice that your product requires. And,
Yes.
keeping that core value, that mission intact. Sometimes you have to be very careful on who you bring on as your co-founder also.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
so it looks like that you've been very lucky. Future work is shifting, life is shifting. We're all in a
Yes.
remote environment, very technically active. Where do you see the product evolving, especially in this evolution of AI, ever evolving AI topic? Because I think it's given AI will be in every software.
AI will be in every software. And it's funny you mentioned the future of work. That I think we're all seeing that. There's many conversations happening around what the future of work will look like. I'm more focused on the future of home. How is how are the advances in AI going to make my day-to-day life easier? How am I going to be able to focus more on the things that make me human and allow the AI to kind of, help me in the ways that it's good at. That's what I'm currently focusing on and really trying to drive home that AI does have a place in our everyday life. There's some things that it does really well, just like there's things that I do very well. And so I am not personally, I'm not looking for an AI to help me, paint or compose a song. But what I do want it to help with are all the scheduling things, the reminding, like if it can help me keep track of my doctor's appointments and my vet appointments and all of the things that take up brain space, that is something that AI does actually very well. So I'm focused a lot more on the future of life, the future of home, and how AI is going to play a role in that. It will have a very big role. We've seen, with Tesla coming out with their automatons, but there's smaller things to lead up to that are going to make a big difference in the average person's life, and eeva is definitely going to be a part of that.
You've done it from the grassroots. You've taken all your past experience, tried to bake it all in. You've a purpose, mission behind it, and you're really committed to it. So for founders who are kind of wanting to build agile, forward-thinking teams and to thrive in these uncertain times, what is your advice as a founder? What do you do?
I spend so much of my time on recruitment. It's incredibly important. I have a pretty big team now. I think we're 17 people. So I try to remove myself as much as possible from the day to day, but recruitment is an area that I refuse to step away from. I think it's incredibly important for founders to set the tone for who they bring into the company. You want to make sure that there's a culture fit. You want to make sure that they understand, what it is that you're trying to do. And I don't just mean from a go-to-market strategy or even what the product is meant to do. You want them to understand the mission that you're trying to deliver on. And we are incredibly lucky at eeva in that everybody on the team experiences the pain point that we're trying to solve. Everybody on the team uses the product because who doesn't need help in their everyday life to keep track of all of the things, right? We have parents on the team who say how much this has been helpful for them. So that's definitely one big piece of advice that I have, to don't skimp out on the hiring, on the recruitment. It takes a lot of time to do well, but is well worth it down the line.
I'm a big believer, firm believer myself. We are a 50+ strong team. And I had, to some degree, I'm still involved in our manager and up hiring. But at the end of the day, it's better to spend that time now rather than to probably have a cultural misfit.
Exactly.
more of a mishap, I would say, which will slow you down in many, many ways, and lot of emotional cost, financial cost with bad
Exactly.
hire. So,
Yeah,
so
which you often can't come back from.
and sometimes it takes you years to come back from it, you
Yeah.
know. I've been there, I've done that, and I think it's important to go slow, as they said, hire slow, fire fast.
Yes,
Get to that firing stage if you hire slow and hire well.
exactly. Yeah.
And core value alignment is such a critical component of that hiring process. So great points. Any last words that you would say if you were to kind of mentor somebody who's come out of an engineering school and wants to build a product and wants to get going? What would you say? How would you mentor somebody like that?
I don't know if I could mentor someone who comes from an engineering background. I would definitely say partner with someone that knows business. That is what's going to differentiate you. Anyone can make a product. Not many people can come up with a successful GTM strategy. So definitely partner with someone that has a skill set that you don't have, and that can help spread the word around the word and the story about why this product exists and the value it's going to bring to the community, to the world.
This is such a great product. You've launched it, and I want many users to take advantage of the offer you have. So talk to us a little bit about that offer that you're promoting to get more users on.
Yeah, we officially launched at CES a couple of weeks ago. We were lucky enough to be one of two startups representing the province of Quebec. We were named one of the most innovative AI companies to watch in 2025. And as a result of all that, we've got a promotion going on until Valentine's Day. It's anybody that signs up from now until then gets the product for $15 a year. So
Wow.
yes,
That's a steal.
it
And I
is a
think that-
steal.
And I think it is for your partner, whoever is the primary partner who manages life for the household, I think needs to buy that one. Talk about digital gifting. This should be on the digital gifting platforms as well.
We have gotten feedback that we are saving marriages.
Let's do more of that. We need that. We need that.
We need
Right?
that. We all need
Yeah,
that.
of course. Let's spread the word about the goodness of the platform. It's saving lives, saving marriages, and such a great cause and mission for the mental health and the well-being of humankind, I would say.
We're here to help.
So
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you once again, Adrienne, for joining me today. It was such a fun conversation. You're definitely purpose-driven. You're changing lives, and the platform's changing lives. I can't wait to see you grow, rise and shine. And in a few weeks, a few months, or a few years, who knows, we might be having a throwback to the successful launch and to see where you've gone from 2 million raised in funding to an exit. Who knows? For our listeners, go check out eeva.ai and if you're listening and to the Fuel Your Marketing podcast, continue to subscribe and share it with your friends and family. We look forward to having you in the next podcast episode very soon. Thank you for joining, everyone.
Thank you for listening to the Fuel Your Marketing podcast. For more episodes, visit www.fuelyourmarketing.ca.